All right, guys, after another incredible year for the gym, we are very excited to celebrate this next man's not only winning Gym of the Year with his team at CKB, but also Coach of the Year at this year's World's MMA Awards. We are excited to have the champ himself, Eugene Bareman, back to Submission Radio. Eugene, congratulations, man. How are you?
I'm great, boys. Yeah, and it was a real honor to win a couple of awards on behalf of my team, I might add. So, yeah, thanks for the congratulations.
Mm-hmm. The champ. I like this. The champ. I love the disdain on your face whenever people give you like compliments or awards. Like you're always just like,
wow,
so uncomfortable to receive them.
I'm uncomfortable because the awards don't belong. Like I know I sound like I'm repeating myself all the time, but it's always an uncomfortable feeling when you're getting an award and you have a team behind you that are just as important as you. So all I can really do is, as the kind of figurehead, is just make sure I acknowledge those people that the award belongs to just as much as me, if not more so, and that's the team. So that's the only reason I feel a bit uncomfortable. I'm very happy about the awards, especially that particular 2 awards, which always escape. We've won awards before, but never from this organization. So I'm happy to receive them because of what it means for the team and some of the guys in the team and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's huge, man. Just quickly, because I know you didn't really get a chance to probably thank everyone. For people that are watching this, what are some of the names you want to drop as well? Thank them for being a part of this whole thing with you.
Yeah, well, like obviously my core team that helps me every fight. You know, Frank, Andre, Tristan, Apakator, Mike Engove, Joe Lopez. These guys travel around the world with me, and there's such a difficult job coaching. Like we talk about it all the time, but it's much it's 100 times easier to be a fighter than a coach. And these guys come on that journey with me. And then I got my team, of course, back here. My business partner Doug Viney. I got Tim Simpson and Ash Orchestra, who look after all the behind the scenes stuff. So, and there's a whole host of people. The list is too long to mention. But yeah, all those guys, they deserve any coaching award just as much as I do. And then of course the gym, and as every good gym knows, the cornerstone of any gym is not the guys that are always in front of the cameras and in front of the TV. The reason that they're in front of the cameras, in front of the TV, and at the highest level is because there's guys underneath them pushing them to be their best. And those are guys that are waiting in the wings to take those guys' spot eventually. A symbiotic relationship. Those guys push the higher guys, but the higher guys show them what level they have to be at to be successful at the top. And over here we have a great team of guys underneath the likes of Dan's and Brad's and the Israels. And you can come in here on any given day, and you can see the guys like Israel and Dan, getting bested by some of these young guys, and that's the benchmark, and that's what we want to see. So there's a whole team here that deserve acknowledgement for that Gym of the Year award. So thank you.
Well, it's well deserved, man. And again, every time we come on, we're like, incredible what you guys are doing, worldwide acclaim, in the world, the best gym. It's just Gym of the Year. It's just an unbelievable award. Gotta ask, man. We know you had that sweet 1999 jet black Honda Civic at one of the awards shows once. Now that you're the champ, does that thing go out the window? Are we bringing in a new whip? Or is this just a part of the team at this point as the coaches that you mentioned?
No, I slightly upgraded my car to a early 2000 Toyota hatchback. Nothing on the level of an Israel or like these people, but little known fact, I'm actually a motorbike guy. So I did the only big significant purchase I've ever made since all this UFC hoopla was I bought a Harley Davidson night rod, which is a custom built one by DGD Customs, which is a company in Sydney. I had that shipped over here, and that's my one little treat to myself. A custom Harley Davidson night rod.
Nice, man. Well, there you go. I didn't know you were a motorbike guy, man. So this is good. This is fun to find out. I like it though, man. Honestly though, like I love how humble you've stayed throughout the entire process, and that's kind of why we asked the question anyway, knowing that like you're not exactly going to be driving a convertible Lambo or anything. All right, but it's been a little while since UFC 281, and obviously we want to chat to you about a bunch of things. You've had some time to sort of think about Israel's fight since then, and I know you speak to Combat TV. Obviously, Tony does a great job, and you spoke to Tony about the inability to stay away from the fence against Pereira in that fight. It's something that you guys will sort of look into moving forward. I'm curious, what else sort of stands out to you about that fight now that the dust has settled?
It's a difficult question for me to answer, boys, because obviously we have the rematch on the horizon, so I can't. To be honest, boys, it's just not going to make a good interview, but I can't. I'm not going to talk about that fight until we've done that rematch.
It's top secret.
I want to keep my cards close to my chest on this one. But yeah, I mean the obvious stuff that I've said is on Tony's interview is I know it's very general, but that's intentional because I don't want to give away too much.
I mean, we've been talking for years now. We've kind of come to expect as much, so completely understand. I get it. I get it. It's all it's all part of the strategy when you go to war. What I would say is, how are you guys feeling about the rematch on a sort of, well, I wouldn't really say personal level, but like given the way that the fight went and the way it played out, and you just mentioned the rematch is probably not too far away. Knowing what you know and knowing the game plans that obviously you're not going to share. How are you feeling about it and that fight, knowing the task ahead?
Well, quietly confident. I mean, you got to understand, we were winning that fight relatively comfortably. We felt we were taking the rounds, but not comfortable enough where when you're fighting someone like that whose game plan appears to be not like he's not a guy who builds his game plan around accumulation of damage. He's the guy that builds himself, builds his game plan around mentally wearing you down and trying to land one big shot. And he's okay, like he's comfortable giving away rounds and then not panicking because he gives away rounds, and it's part of a bigger picture for him. Part of a bigger picture, setting up what he ultimately is looking for, and with a few adjustments, we can turn that. We can make some changes there and build on a lot of positive things that happened in that fight for us.
No, absolutely. And here's the thing, right? Like, so I was watching your interview with Tony at Combat TV, who's a legend, and you were kind of explaining how you were happy with the stoppage because of the health implications that it could have had on Israel. And that's not to say that Israel couldn't have recovered and still won the fight. But it's a fascinating point because just for us analyzing your response, health always kind of comes first for you and the team over the win. Even though you could have potentially won it, you were happy with that stoppage because of the health implications that it could have had on Israel and his life going forward. I just want to sort of narrow in on that point a little bit because we've seen camps in the past say, keep going. Not you guys, but other camps. So we've seen moments in fights where fighters were let fight on for too long. Just explain that point a little bit to us and for the fans that might not understand it, that importance of health versus keeping a fighter in there to potentially win, but knowing the risks that they would be taking staying in there.
Yeah, well, it also has a lot to do with the large majority of the fan base that drive the sport have never taken or received a punch from a professional fighter in a professional environment ever. This is not like someone walking up to the street and punching you. This is someone who's trained themselves for the vast majority of their life to generate force and send it into one particular focused area. It's not normal. It's not a normal thing. The body ultimately is not designed to take blunt force trauma like that. So, it's and people's expectations on teams and families and friends and fighters, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because every punch you receive to the head, unfortunately, what's becoming more and more clear as time goes on, and we invest a lot more time and money into studying this. Unfortunately, every punch we receive to the head looks like it does permanent damage, irreversible damage. So we have to take this very seriously. And I'm not gonna disagree with you. There was a chance that Israel may have made some sort of recovery and carry on, but at the end of the day, I deemed that, and Mark Goddard deemed that there was a greater chance that he may have been hurt even worse than he was. So that's why I said I was happy with the stoppage. And at the end of the day, we live to fight another day. Israel seems to be healthy and happy and enthusiastic to get on with business. So, yeah, he's. I think it's the right call.
Well, it's almost like the ultimate discipline, right? Because it's kind of like delayed gratification, where like you could potentially win that fight, come back, and it would be such a glorious moment and it would be etched in history. But in 10, 20, 30, or however many years, that moment could have serious ramifications on a person's life. So yeah, a lot of respect for having, that kind of mindset and just the discipline through and through to kind of see things that way. And we know that you and Israel always share a moment together after every fight. I'm curious, what was the moment like after this one?
Look, there's a couple of poignant moments, but I guess the main one for me was just hopping in the cage immediately and just letting him know that I was happy with the stoppage. And in that moment, if he hears me acknowledging that, then he knows he must have been hurt. And him just coming to that realization that maybe it was a correct stoppage. So just him dealing with that, and then later on, of course, Israel just
I'm here to do the MMA class.
being
Yeah, I used to do that.
being unnecessarily apologetic, because you go out there and you do your best and you do everything that I expect of you, and you train well, and you get caught. There's never any need for an apology. And I quickly reminded of him, look, saying sorry to the wrong person, brother, because it means nothing, because there's no apology needed here. So we had that moment together, and then honestly, our first conversation went on to what we could do different in a few months' time. Straight away, like that's how we are as a team. Like we just move on, like immediately, and we just started talking about some of the positives of the fight, some of the negatives, what we could do different, and then we just moved on and enjoyed the moment.
I love the story that Dan Hooker told us about how he tricked everybody into going to the after party.
Yeah.
And then you were like, hey, the champ says we're going. Everybody ended up, and Israel made sure everybody had a good night as well. So that was a good story too. Hey, I just want to find out though, Eugene, with the health stuff. I know in the post-fight press conference, Israel kind of mentioned that he's been dealing with some health issues. We know like he got kicked in that perennial nerve, but I don't know, there was some rumors if there was something wrong with one of his knees. I'm just curious, how healthy was he in that fight? And are you saying that he's pretty healthy going forward because this turnaround looks like it's going to happen pretty soon?
No, just what he's referring to is more like niggly little injuries. Nothing serious, nothing that affected the fight.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of little nigglies that if you had a choice, you'd prefer not to go into the fight, but they're not going to have any effect on performance and stuff. So that's what he's referring to. I don't want that's if for 1 second people think that's some sort of excuse or something, then it's not for a second. I don't think we'd ever do that.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's why I wanted to kind of quash that. Okay, so you mentioned that the rematch is sort of on the horizon. What exactly do you think is next? Do you think that the immediate rematch is next? What do you think is actually next in terms of the fight?
Yeah, the rematch for sure. It's I don't know. You can hear it. There's all sorts of rumors that go on, behind the scenes and on social media and stuff. But at the end of the day, it can only go that way, right? Like you get a champion that does the sort of service that he's done for that company, defended that many times, that frequently. You have to give the man the rematch. Like he's put himself in a position where if he wants that rematch, there's just no other choice. So, I mean, what else could you do? Like, no other fight makes sense.
When you say it's around the... Sorry, go on, Eugene.
It's not like doing a Max rematch after you finally beat him, and then you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm still salty about it.
well, I was gonna say. So you say like this rematch is right around the horizon. Are you actually looking at a pretty quick turnaround? I only ask this because we saw Alex was talking about fighting Khamzat in Brazil. And I wonder, because I know it's a huge fight in the sense that the rematch would generate a lot of money as well. So I wonder if getting this fight turned around and getting this rematch done is also partly because you guys want to fight Alex while he's still got the belt. Would I be right? And while this is still as big of a fight as possible, so Israel could make as much money from this as possible? Because just looking at this rematch on pay-per-view, right, the only sort of silver lining here is the number of people that are going to tune in to see this battle, because that first fight was so historic and there's so much history between the two.
Yeah, for sure. And I haven't seen the numbers on the last fight, but I'm sure they're very, very good. I think in the middleweight division, I still think that's the biggest fight. Khamzat's a rising star, but he's literally done nothing at middleweight, so he hasn't established himself. You're talking about two guys at the top of the food chain in terms of their status in combat sports. Khamzat's a rising star. Like he's a massive rising star, but he's not in the position of these two guys. This is the biggest fight. Khamzat still has to beat people at middleweight to work his way up to even fighting one of these guys. So, unless the politics take over and the business of the sport take over, and that's essentially how we arrived at this fight that we're talking about, right? So, it's still the biggest fight to make, and at the end of the day, it's not Alex's choice. It will be Alex's choice when he makes X amount of title defenses and does well for the company and all that, then it becomes Alex's choice. But at the moment, we've got a champion who's done so much for this company, who's defended his title so many times. He kind of gets to, if he wants a rematch, I believe that that's what he should get.
I'm curious, timeline-wise, when would make sense for you guys, given health and preparation, those kinds of things? When would you like to see the rematch happen?
Whenever.
Because I think they were trying to make like a very last-minute one at UFC 283, right? That's why Khamzat's name was even thrown out there. And then Alex was talking about doing it at 205 because it wouldn't necessarily be enough time to cut the weight. So UFC 283 is not exactly far away. So if they were like, hey, well, 284 is obviously in Perth, so obviously the schedule's getting booked up. But like in theory, if it was in the next few months, that would work. Like say Q1 of next year, that would work for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, that would work for us. I mean, like I said, we don't have to extensively reinvent the wheel, in my opinion. We have to just tweak a few things, and we can turn that fight around. So yeah, that's what it more comes down to, is like how much time do we need to train to kind of enact the changes and the tweaks that we need to turn this fight around. And I just don't anticipate we need to do a hell of a lot. We just have to change a couple of tactics. Yeah, like I said, change a couple of tactics, tweak a couple of things, and we'll be sweet. And we can do that within that given time frame.
Yeah, nice. Perfect. Well, it's going to be a big quarter for CKB, the first quarter of next year. Just super quickly, speaking of switching tactics, switch to the best tactics for ball trimming, and that is, of course, with our good friends at Manscaped, who are bringing you this interview, this episode. And of course, with Christmas coming around the corner, make sure your little drummer boy gets a bit of action, gets some kisses under the mistletoe, if you know what I'm saying. Also, the Performance Package 4.0, the greatest value for yourself or anybody that you might be getting this gift for. It works in two ways. Either you can get an awesome gift for yourself, or you can just take the pressure of giving gifts off your mind. It stresses me out every year. Like, oh shit, what do I get for this person? What do I get for that person? You just get the Performance Package 4.0 for whoever you love in your life, and then they can have the smoothest balls in town, much like yourself. Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer with the LED light, the waterproof features, the skin-safe technology, the ceramic blade. You already know. It also comes with the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, the ultra-premium body wash, the ultra-premium 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, the ultra-premium deodorant, the Crop Preserver anti-chafing ball deodorant, and the Crop Reviver ball spray toner to make everything smell phenomenal down there, and the free gifts, the boxes, and the Shed travel bag. Everything to make you the best version of yourself. Isn't that right, Dennis?
That's right, man. Make this Christmas merry thanks to our friends at Manscaped and get 20% off and free shipping with a code word submission now. And why not make some extra money this Christmas holidays as well with our friends at MyBookie, who are just giving cash away thanks to the code word submission and the 100% match deposit that you get when you use $1 for $1 all the way up to $1,000. And what about this weekend? Sean Strickland sitting at a -123. Jared Cannonier -103. Who will you be picking for the last big fights of the year? There's only one place to go to make those picks. Or what about making some money on US politics, UK politics, or joining some of the great contests that MyBookie has to offer? There is just so much money floating around MyBookie right now. Secure your bag right now with a code word submission and that 100% match deposit at MyBookie now, Cass.
Secure the bag. I love it. And then lastly, while you're making money, save some money. Also, if you're getting gifts online, I got like a billion things that I still need to buy online ahead of Christmas. And of course, the sweet Boxing Day sales. But it gets even better because if you use a VPN like NordVPN, you can trick your computer and make it think you're in a different location where prices are even cheaper. We all know the story. Dennis wanted to get the NBA League Pass. Dennis didn't want to pay full price and Aussie prices. Dennis made his computer think he lived in the Philippines or Indonesia or something. Dennis got a much cheaper price on the NBA League Pass, but he still gets to enjoy the exact same premium content. It works same for Netflix. We live here in Australia, but if you make your computer think you live in Mexico, Netflix is obviously substantially cheaper. Also with flights. I mean, you can get the same exact flights for a different price depending on which location. And also, benefits of VPN is it keeps away trackers, hides your IP address, so the internet service provider cannot see any of the websites you're going on, and also keeps away all the bad people that might be trying to steal your data or your credit card information. And also, if you're traveling, I know a lot of people are traveling for the holidays, it makes sure that you can still watch your favorite shows even if you're in a different country. You know, you maybe you love Australian Netflix and you're watching all your favorite shows, but you're traveling to, you know, Bali or whatever, or the States where you can't get those shows. Well, with a VPN, you make your computer think you're still in Australia, and then you have access to your favorite catalog. Isn't that right, Dennis?
That's right, man. And just a little tip for all our friends over there in New Zealand. You see those two prices, that Australian price and that New Zealand price? Well, the dollar for dollar difference doesn't actually make sense why you guys pay $15 extra for everything that you buy. Why not use a VPN, save some money this holiday season? I'm just going to leave it right there because I know you guys are going to be taking this deal up right now. You get a huge discount plus 4 months free at NordVPN right now. If you click the link in the description below, or go to nordvpn.com/submission. And by the way, 30-day money-back guarantee. Why not try it over this Christmas holidays? See how much money you save. See how much it changes your life for the better, and then understand the difference that it really is going to make for the rest of 2023. The only one place to go, and that is with our friends at NordVPN. Hey, just quickly, I want to also touch base on Dan Hooker because I know, obviously, not only do you coach him, but you also manage him as well. Dan's really keen to get onto this UFC Perth card. We've had the fans talk about who they want to see him fight. We've had Dan try to get people to call him out and put their hand up to fight him. It looks like it's been unsuccessful so far. So we want to go to you. Do you have a name for Dan to potentially fight in Perth? And if not, who do you think could be a great fight for
him? Look, I've got a couple guys training for still training for Perth. If they get Perth, if they don't get Perth, they're just going to get pushed back to the nearest date. So I haven't really looked into it too much because when you're top 15, boys, when a name comes across the table, you've got to answer the call. Maybe Moicano.
That would be good.
Fight. I'm not sure where he's ranked, but that's just a random name.
I mean, there's that history with Brad.
Yeah, that's.
You guys know him well?
Yeah, that wasn't really what I was thinking.
Okay, sorry. Here I am. Been watching too much WWE. Sorry.
Well, I was trying to think of guys that'll be around where Dan is. I wasn't thinking about some big revenge plot. I was like, just guys that would be around Dan. It's like unrealistic for us to call out someone who's in the top 5. So I was trying to think, well, who's actually. But I don't really. It's hard for me to keep up with all that stuff, boys. So yeah. Hey, don't forget. I also want to just remember to say a little shout out to Joe Lopez and Alex Volkanovski.
Yes.
Who got Fighter of the Year and International Fighter of the Year. So it's kind of a champ kind of thing going on there. So yeah, congratulations to Alex and Joe. And that's another triumph for Australasian and in particular Australian MMA. So that's an amazing accomplishment as well. So can't forget that.
100%, man. Champ. It's just it all just bodes well for the team and just shows the hard work that you guys have been putting in, and obviously the the symbiotic relationship that you guys have with Freestyle MMA and Uncle Joe, as you like to call him, in the vlogs. I love it, man. I love it. It's great to see. I feel like it's been good for the Australian New Zealander relationship. You know what I mean? Sports politics, just making it a beautiful relationship. I was also going to say, just quickly going back to Dan, I know that like you guys are sort of looking like a little bit higher up the rankings. I know Dan was on Pub Talk with Oscar Willis, who obviously Oscar does a phenomenal job with all the pub talks and all the stuff that he does. And the topic of Paddy Pimblett came up, and Dan was kind of like, "Oh, look, I like Paddy. Like, I don't want to be there and burst his bubble. But I'm curious from your perspective as a manager. Like, I don't know if they're really that close together. But if that was something that was offered because it's a big fight, would you have a different sort of take on that one? Would you look at it and go, hey, this would be a good fight or a good opportunity?
Personally, no. Like if Paddy isn't like ahead of us or closely behind us, there'd
be nothing to gain for you guys, right?
Yeah, like it's like maybe if you wanted Dan to fight, you could give him some financial incentive to fight someone like that. But to be honest, I've never seen the guy fight. I'm yet to see the guy fight, and I don't know if that'll be a good fight. I know, again, he's like a big star, rising star. But if you just take away all that bullshit, like, and just concentrate on the purity of the fight and who's ahead of you and who's behind you and who can get you to your goal, which for every fighter has got to be the champion, then it's just not a consideration. Yeah.
Well, you've got a lot to catch up on, sir, because if you haven't watched the fights yesterday, let's just say a lot has happened, and you should have a look at some of the headlines that came out of it because they're pretty unreal. Let's just say there's the lightweight heavyweight title is back on the line at UFC 283 between Glover Teixeira and Jamal Hill, and I'll just leave it at that. And then you look at the headlines to see what happened, and also have a look at the scorecard for the Paddy Pimblett fight. But for now, guys, make sure to follow this man and City CKB at City Kickboxing on Instagram. And congratulations yet again, man, on an incredible year, incredible award. We're all super proud of you from the region, and can't believe on the incredible stuff you and the team has achieved. Thank you so much for joining us before training. It always means a lot to us.
Thank you, lads. And thanks for your coverage. It means a lot. Thank you.
Pleasure's ours. Thanks, Huge. Have a great day.
Thanks, Huge. Have a great training session. Thank you.
Cheers, boys.